Hey guys, welcome back to Large Scale RC Nation. The government just dropped off a supply crate for us and our WPL military vehicle. Let's go ahead and check it out. We got our box cutter. Let's jump into this unboxing. I found this on eBay. I was doing some search and trying to find something to put in the bed of one of the WPL trucks. I'm probably going to get another B16, but the green one, to go with a little scale thing that I have coming to the channel. And let's see what we have inside this crate. Okay, here it is, guys. What's wrong? You can't read that? Let me tell you, this is a 1/16 scale, 88 millimeter ammo, which is going to go for our tank, and we're going to have some crates. Let's dive into this package. So I'll go ahead and show you a picture of what these look like fully assembled, and I will also show you a link in the description if you want to check that out. Aren't these things so cool looking? So we can paint the tips, add a little bit more scale to it, a little bit more detail, so it's not just plain looking. But these are going to look great in the truck to make it look like artillery shells for the tanks. And I have a little surprise coming to the channel as far as tanks. All right, very nice looking detail, very good, high quality. They're not heavy, so we can glue those in so they don't move around. And let's go ahead and build these crates. In the package, we received 9 artillery rounds from the government, and we also received 3 crates. So that would be 3 shells in each crate. As you can see, it looks like it is laser cut, which is very nice. And I believe these just pop right out.
2 hours later.
After a little trial and error, I did figure out the best way to take these off is to just spin them off on every single piece. It comes off way easier than trying to do it the other way. So I just wanted to show you this, so that way you can do this as well for your first time. I'm just gonna twist these because they're only held in right in the center with a small piece of wood. So that's gonna happen on every single one of these. All right, and there you go. So now I'm going to take my X-Acto blade and clean up these edges. You do want to make sure when plucking them out that you are careful doing it. It's better to break the outside border than the actual wood. This is going to be very fragile wood, so just want to make sure that you guys are fragile pulling those out. Now, it did not come with any instructions, but I'm pretty sure we can figure this out. Okay, all of our edges are smooth. Now it's time to assemble it. Here on the back of the package, we have a QR code. So we're gonna go ahead and see if it has instructions. Let's check it out. So after further review, I kind of find out that each one of these are laser cut and we're gonna have to remove these. Per the picture, there is no instructions. There was a QR code to send you to a website, but it is no longer valid. So we're gonna go ahead and break these apart as so. And just be very careful in doing so. I just twist them, as you can see here. and we'll be back once we have all these separate. Now that we separated them and placed them by size, we're going to clean up the edges with our X-Acto blade or some sandpaper. Let's go ahead and do that. Make sure that you're taking the time to clean it up. The more clean that it is, the smoother it is, the better it's going to look in the end. You want a nice, clean, polished, finished product. Get it nice and smooth. Run your finger over it. Check for any burrs and clean it up. Okay, I run my finger on every one of these pieces. Everything is smooth as a baby's butt, and we're ready to start installing. This is going to be your upper and lower part of the crate. This is going to be the long portion on the sides, and these ones will be the short sides of your crate. So we will all glue those together. The other thing I want to do first though is you're going to have straps that go across the crate. So what I did is I took one of these panels right here and I placed it on my phone. I used the picture that I provided you guys and scaled it up to the exact size of this panel. When I had it laid across the top, I found that the gap from the strap to the edge of the crate was exactly this width right here. So you can use this as a guide. Place this on the edge and mark the top and bottom of each one, because we're going to place these straps across and glue them all the way around so that way they're nice and even. You can use the template from right here, or you can go a little bit closer. This is not much thinner, so you can find that one right here. And as you can see, it really is a small difference. So now what I'm going to do is line up the edge. And I'm just going to mark the corner. And I'm using the thinner one because when you mark the line with your pen, it is going to stick out a teeny bit. So that way we don't got a line going all the way across, and it's about the same thickness. And just verify that I have these even. Use this as a border. Okay, so we're going to do that for each side and for all four of these pieces. Okay, we have our lines. Everything's nice and even all the way across. And you can just double check that by laying it out and making sure all the lines line up, which they do. Now we can start doing some gluing. When gluing these down, make sure that you have the finished side, which is going to be the nice lines facing down, with the scorch marks facing upward, because that's going to be the inside of the box. Same with your side pieces, burn pieces facing inward, with the finished side facing outward. I'm just going to use a nice little bit of glue on here. I'm going to be using Gorilla Wood Glue. And we're going to go ahead and start building our box. We don't want too much on here because we don't want it to glob out everywhere, as I probably already did. And we're going to go ahead and let that dry. You're going to want something with a nice flat edge to make sure that it is butted up all the way against the edge of the crate as well. And that you're even on both sides, that it's not overhanging. And we'll let that tack up and start working on the other side. For the next portion, you're going to want to glue the bottom and the side that's going to press up against this first wall. And we'll work our way all the way around. I went ahead and placed a little bit on the back side of this board and the bottom while installing it. Glue on all three sides of this one. And we're just going to carefully place that last one in, and just make sure that it is flush. Press it up against and press down. Okay, now we have all four sides. That's gonna tack up and dry. And now we can place on our lid. If you want to place on the lid and glue that down to make it a crate that's not going to be opened, then go ahead and glue that. Otherwise, let's leave this off. Okay, we wiped off all excess glue on the outside. This will dry clear, but just to get it as clean looking as possible, just make sure that all edges are nice and flush. You don't have any overhang or nothing pushing inward. You can just fill that with your finger and make sure it's nice and flush. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. If you plan on building all three at once, let this one dry and then continue working on the next box. For me, while that's drying, I'm gonna start laying the straps along the top part of the box. These do fit flush with the edge. So you could either place the strap right at the edge of your mark, or you can go on the other side of the mark. That way it's a little bit more in. It's all the way up to you, your preference, doesn't matter. But just that way they're all even and uniform, make them the same way. So if you're gonna do the outside edge, make a thicker portion on this side, you wanna make sure that you do the same on this side and mirror it. Don't put it on this side and this one on this side, because then it's not gonna look equal. So we're gonna go ahead and start gluing these on. I think I'm gonna go with the little bit more meat. That way it's got a little bit more brace look. Okay, we got a nice thin layer of glue. And basically you want to set it right where you want. You don't want to move it around to get that glue everywhere. So I'm just going to find that edge and just cover it up and press down. On to the next one. Okay, we got those installed. Now we're going to be installing our bottom pieces on the crate. Okay, so now that we got those, we're going to start working on our verticals. The ones that are in the middle as far as lengthwise, these are going to be your verticals that are going on the side crate, which will touch the top of this one along with the bottom piece of wood. So let's go ahead and start working on those. So we're not going to glue this top portion up here unless you're going to keep this a completely sealed crate. So I'm just going to run a bead of glue from the bottom post to the top of the side of the box, and then leave this open, and we're going to glue that on. Okay, I ran a small bead of glue on there, and we're just going to basically touch it with the top and bottom, make sure everything is lined up as far as your lid with your box. And that way they sit perfectly even. All corners are touching, everything looks good. So now we can remove the lid so that doesn't glue onto there. And we're just gonna let that dry. So we are now gonna start making the supports for the handles, and it's also gonna hold the crate in. I found it best that we're just gonna add a little bit of glue on the edge of the crate right here. Do that to both sides. Just making sure I wipe off a little bit of the excess there. We don't want too much, we don't want it to glob up. And we're gonna go flush with the bottom and flush with the side. And I'm just running my finger over the edge, making sure it's flush. All right, and for the second one. Okay, so it should look like this so far. Both sides are done. And you're just gonna make sure that it is flush on both sides. This is basically holding down the lid and the bottom. So you're gonna have overhang on this side, which will hold the lid on. Okay, if you have any excess glue, just go ahead and wipe that down with your thumb. Make sure it's flush still. Okay, so now we got all sides done so far. I'm gonna wipe away this glue right here. Use a little bit of scrap wood just to wipe it away. There we go, nice and clean. And we're gonna let that dry, and we'll start on our handles. For the handles, where our little spurs were, is a good center point. So we're just gonna run a dab of glue. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just think of just someone building this. They don't really give a crap how perfect it is. They just probably slap this stuff together anyways. So there's a small little dab right there in the center. Just gonna eyeball it. Probably got a little too much on that guy. Okay, and you can use the smoke side, which is where it was laser cut on the bottom, or the clean side, it doesn't matter. It will give it a little bit more scale detail. You could also probably use a lighter and make it look like it was a little smoked up, give it some wear and tear on it. I know there's a lot of like different wood stuff that you can do to make it look weathered. So it's up to you if you want to make it look new or old, depending on how your diorama or whatever's going to be set up. But considering the fact this is going to be delivered out in the field to my tank, I'm going to make it look like it's pretty fresh. You can also take your X-Acto knife and kind of chew up the corners so it doesn't look like perfect wood. You want to make it look like it's, you know, got a little bit of character to it. So we're going to go ahead and do this to the other side. The other thing you can do is add some varnish to it, or a little lacquer, and seal up the wood and make it look like it is lacquered. However you want to do it, it's really totally up to you. I'm just going to keep it like this, make it look like fresh wood. I'm not trying to make it look like a piece of furniture. Last little one on there. The other thing we can do too is we can add, you take a pin and we're going to dab that in the corners of all of our wood pieces and make it look like a nail. That will give it a little bit more scale. Nice look to it. Just trying to get off this extra glue. Don't want a big glob in the corner here. Okay, and we're just gonna let that dry. It will dry clear. So now I'm gonna make a scale look of nails being in the wood, just simply by using a pin. You don't want to use a Sharpie because it will bleed. And I'm just going to do that for each one of these boards to make it seem like it's nailed in. The other thing that you can do, these are printed lines on here. These are not etched into the wood. So what you can do is take an X-Acto blade if you want to make it look even more realistic, and just shred along that line with your blade and get it deep in there so it gives it some depth to make it look like it is actual different boards. And then from there you can add a little bit of black wash or whatever, some dark wash to the wood so it gets inside those slats, so it makes it look like it is depth. So there you go, we got some little nails in there. Looks pretty scale. So here is our finished product. We're going to take our wood looking slat, and the four corners are going to hold this in place so it doesn't slide off. And it's going to be a nice tight fit since everything is made very nicely and precisionally cut. Almost got it there. All right, that lid is not going anywhere. So there you have it. Here's your crate with your ammo inside. Add some weight. Pop this off. very carefully. It's almost like it's nailed in there. Someone get me a crowbar. All right, there we go. Lid's back off. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of nail marks all the way around this wood to make it like the handles are on, everything else. But like I said, the support that I plan on making, this will slide in there and glue that in, and then the ammo will sit on top of this wood. So hopefully that works out. And I also made a second box while I was waiting for it to dry. This one I did the burn marks facing outward on all the pieces of wood, as you can see here. That way you had a little bit of something different to look at to see what you wanted to do. It adds a little bit of depth, makes it look like it is more realistic wood. So you can also use these planks that are burnt and put them outward, but the problem is the top and bottom are gonna look like this just because of the slats and less, you know. But if you put a little varnish on here or anything like that, it will definitely give it some richness and look better. And here is the top of the other one that I made. So that will go on there. All right, so here you can see the two different crates. This has the burn marks facing outward. This one is the clean side. So you can decide on what you want to do. So I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but I basically just traced the ammo on the outside and then put one in the center. And what I'm going to do is build a brace for my ammunition to sit in the crate, so that way they're not wobbling around. You know, I doubt in in the war they're gonna have 3 pieces of ammo like this just clinking around in a crate. So I'm just gonna build some type of support for it to sit in there. What I did is I took this extra piece of wood and I put it up to this bottom piece. I traced one of the side walls, which is right here, and I just made it the same exact length and cut it with the X-Acto blade along the edge right there, and then went straight across and made that piece, which turned out right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and Dremel this and just make grooves so it has something to sit in. Okay, here you can see what I'm working on. I'm just getting it all down evenly to the same height, and then you'll see this inside the crate. Doesn't have to be the prettiest, as you're not even gonna see it in there. It's just gonna be holding the ammo and it'll look a little bit more scale. Okay, here you can see it installed. It's not glued in yet, but it just keeps it from rolling around. You could even glue in the ammo, but now I'm gonna work on this front support. I think I'm gonna try using this thinner piece. I don't have to dig down so deep. That might be a better option to do for the rear. So you have to cut into it so deep. All right, and then I'm just gonna cut this out. Okay, break that off, break that off. All right, now we got our front support. We'll sand this down. So what I'm doing now is making the ammo nice and straight. And then I'm just gonna mark a center point on each one of these. And then I'm gonna make my grooves. All right, last little bit of touches on this guy. Okay, and that's gonna be our finished product for that one. I test fitted it a couple times, making sure that's gonna fit in there good. So let's install it. This place is starting to look like a construction site. So now what I'm doing is just lining up where I'm gonna put my brace. I want it to be right on those ribs. So I'm gonna place it right here. And I have my glue on there, pressing it down. And just make sure that it's pretty much straight, which it is. Here we can see our finished product. It does take a lot of time, but if you're trying to add a little bit more scale feature, it does look amazing. And like I said, it's not gonna be rattling around. I am gonna leave the case off so it actually displays the ammo. And so that will look really good. Look at, no rattle, it sits in there perfectly. Looks really good, a lot better than this. Here you can see the difference. I just thought about doing that. I think it worked out really well. I can glue down the ammo so that way it doesn't fall out, but next step is gonna be to paint these like I said, and I'll have to pick up some paint for that. So that will be in another video. Here you can also see I added the scale little nails all around. Now let's go ahead and add these lids. And just have them either hanging off. Yeah, I think I am gonna glue those down so they don't slide back and forth. Definitely gonna be a lot of bumping and stuff going around if it's in the truck. But anyways, here's our little lids. And it's good to go. All right, as soon as they get done loading up this ammo inside the back of our B-16 military truck, we can catch up with the convoy. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It does look very scaled in the back of the truck, and it would be great for a little photo op. Also, if you have the bed without the canopy, just have those in the back there, glue them down. They're gonna look amazing back there. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. These crates look amazing. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out, and I hope you guys enjoy this find that I found on eBay. I'm gonna post a link in the description below. I believe they are about $12 to $13, free shipping. Should get in about a week or two, so sit back and enjoy this montage. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial on how to make these. We built them together for the first time. I really do think they turned out great. This is gonna make a very nice detailed look inside of our WPL military trucks. And if you have any hang-long tanks or anything like that, those will look great as well on there. I am gonna do a little bit of painting to the tips, and I will also weather these later on, so I'll show an update on those. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you can support the channel, as I said, with that super thanks button. Thank you guys so much. All the proceeds will go to more stuff like this, more products, more vehicles, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.
Bye.